Hey there, Rebus forever here, your friendly neighborhood goth. Let's get miserable. So, welcome to my review for Vermintides Unofficial Prequel, with more rats haunting your night than Charlie Day's nightmares. So if you like your walnut whips 6 foot tall and made of killer plague rats, more often flavoured tragedy than watching every version of A Christmas Carol back to back, and a late game aesthetic that had Pup and Nurgle calling his copyright lawyer, then hold on to your sling because this might be the loss and despair simulator for you. Plague Tales sees you tasked with dodging the Inquisition as five go mad in medieval France, surrounded by rabid Catholics and child-bothering rats. Though sadly that sentence works both ways round. How art imitates life. In a lovingly recreated and beautiful looking, till the rats turn up, slice of the Gallic countryside. In a coming-of-age adventure that will see you solving puzzles, sneaking past guards, or pummeling their heads in with stones depending on how you roll, and making friends, all whilst trying to find a cure for your little brother with a fairly serious case of the sniffles, and solving the mystery of the rat infestation and the plague that has blighted the world in general, and the lives specifically of the main cast of little tykes. This game is exceptional. Whereas the Blair Witch left me disappointed with its attempts at spooky, this game's excesses pleased me despite the sketchiness of the Rat Magneto phase. The emotional stuff is all spot on, with the writing and voice acting being a cut above. The game does somewhat depart from historic adventure into historic fantasy, so if you like your history served without a mixer, this might not be as historically accurate as you would prefer. The game is largely historically authentic, up to a point, but I think it's fair to say that some of the forces within the game's narrative are slightly exaggerated. The game itself is a fairly linear mix of stealth, puzzle solving, emotions, and combat, with many areas being approachable by a range of methods depending on your personal preference, or the extent of your desire to turn the small children you play as into mass murderers. There isn't perhaps as much freedom as I would like, with some deaths being completely unavoidable, but I suppose you can't be responsible for everything. More choice on the outcome of certain events would have been preferable. Alas, poor Roderick. But I suppose just like in life, you can't control every outcome. All in all, one of the best games I've played for narrative and balance of gameplay elements, with games featuring stealth often frustrating me. All this despite Plague Tales not being about Dune 2 or Warhammer related, at least not directly. If you enjoy good narrative, don't break out in plague hives when you play a linear game, and crave for ambitious games that make the most of an almost accurate, largely underused by games, historic setting, with characters that behave like humans rather than fantasy or sci-fi wizard elves, and instead of fighting for some epic, excessive and almost intangible aim, then this, please don't let my kid brother get eaten by packs of insane fluffy red-eyed rats, simulator is the game for you. Thanks for watching. Now, as you all know, one of the first rules of Rebus Club is that you don't talk about Rebus Club, and looking at my viewing figures, it's come to my attention that a lot of you are sticking to that rule. So if you want to do a goth a favour, break that rule and share my content someplace.